I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with P.C. Smith about her amazing book, The Shingle Weaver's Picnic. It's an evocative historical novel set amidst the backdrop of World War II. The author delves into the heart of 1941 as fear and suspicion pervade the world, while one girl's journey unfolds in the face of a shocking murder that disrupts her once innocent neighborhood. We're delighted to have Patty join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Mainspring Books for helping us put her on the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Patty, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Let's start out with an easy question. What does the title,
Okay.
The Shingle Weaver's Picnic, mean?
I get that a lot. It goes back to the town of Everett, where there was many small little lumber mills. It wasn't a big town at the time, and the mills were divided into different sections as to what kind of woods and things they cut. And there's one area where the shingles would come down into this little bin area, and the person there would stack them to wrap them to sell, and they were called shingle weavers.
Mm,
And the lumber mills used to put on a picnic every summer for their employees, and so it was called the Shingle Weavers Picnic.
wonderful. Now, do you know this from reading about it, from hearing it from your folks, from experiencing it?
I used to spend all my summers with my grandparents at Everett when I was a little girl.
Oh.
So a lot of the story are things I remember. A lot of the characters there are pretty close to things I remember, and yeah, that's how I know so much about it.
Exactly. And the story revolves around a girl named Cricket. Why don't you tell us a little bit about her story and who she is and how you came up with the character?
Cricket. Well, I was looking for somebody that was, I mean, a person, a character that was not, let's say, full adult, uh, but looked through what was happening through different eyes than adults do.
Mhm.
And those were the eyes that I used when I was up there. So it was very easy for me to convert what I saw and how I felt and what I wondered about when I was little to this character, Cricket.
Yeah. Tell us the big story about, or an overview rather, of what the book is about.
The book is about a story of a young girl that goes up to Everett, Washington to visit her grandparents every summer. And this particular summer, she had to go by herself because they were expecting a baby in the family. And so she was very excited about this new adventure. She was just about to turn 8, and she really felt like an adult because she could do these things. But at the time, when you sent children like that, there was a travel agency that would come aboard the train at most of the stops to just check on the child and see how they were doing. And between them and the conductor, it was very safe thing for a child to do. So she gets up to her grandparents' house. She has a neighborhood of friends that she's played with for years when she's gone up there. And this is just a story of this one particular summer when several of her friends were starting to mature into young teenagers while she was still very young. And then the horrible murder that took place, and her grandfather, being a retired judge, got involved legally into the situation. And so the whole family sort of got wrapped up in this one thing because things like that didn't happen in towns anymore. I mean, but before, and not like they do now. And it was kind of the whole town was on edge. The whole town felt this is awful. This is happening to me. So everybody got involved. So that's how the story just sort of maneuvered itself.
It's interesting. Crime did have so much more impact back then. You know, I always say that we learned about Lizzie Borden, that Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her parents 40 whacks, you know, the old rhyme. But
Right.
today it would be Lizzie Borden took a machine gun and killed 15 people at the movie theater. You know, the fact that she just killed,
Unfortunately, you're right.
yeah, I mean, the fact that she just killed her parents would be nothing by today's standards because the crimes that we have today are unthinkable from just 20,
They
30,
sure
40
are.
years ago, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it
Yeah.
did affect the whole town. It really did. So
Exactly. Exactly.
that made for a lot of interesting characters. Yeah.
Tell the folks at home a little bit about the murder that happens in this town, who's involved, what happens, that kind of thing, without giving away the too much of the story.
Well, it happened. There's a group of kids that Cricket was used to spending her time with. Several of them had started to become mature and got into their teenage years, and one that came every summer, just like Cricket did. She's a little spicy for a young lady, but she
Mhm.
was full of vim and vigor and excitement about growing up. And she offered. She said maybe instead of picking strawberries for pocket money for the fair, we might go out and have a cigarette or two. Well, all the rest of us that were younger went, "You're kidding me," you know.
Yeah.
But she was the life of the party, so to speak, and this she the murder took place, and it shows how so many of the kids were taken aback, even more than the adults,
Yeah.
because a couple of them were looked at as suspects.
Right.
So that even made the story a little more, you know, page turner. So that's
Yeah.
that's how that happened. Yeah.
Absolutely. What was it like writing this book? Was it fun immersing yourself in this world and being in 1941 and envisioning the world around you and all of the events happening in the neighborhood as well as around the globe?
Well, the whole thing happened just happened. It was just something in life. My late husband was diagnosed with Alzheimer's,
Hmm.
and our family doctor said you should find something to do at home that makes you happy, because this could be a very long and rather hard journey. So I gave it some thought. I thought, what would I like to do at home? And I thought, I've always wanted to take writing classes.
Hmm.
So I got in touch with a writing school named Gotham in New York.
Hmm.
And fortunately, I got hold of the most wonderful teacher for a brand new writer. And she just babied me and brought me along and made me feel like I was ready for a Pulitzer Prize winner with my first homework assignment. And
Wonderful.
she was so encouraging that, and actually, this story was a 750 word page that was homework
Hmm.
that we just developed into the book.
Wow.
And it was a lifesaver for me. And I promised myself that I would go to do this. I would make it publisher ready,
Hmm.
but I didn't think I would ever really get around to that.
Right.
So, and then just about the time I finished the book, I got really, really sick.
Hmm.
And it didn't look to me like I might have time to do it the old fashioned way, like send them in and wait for rejections and so forth and so on. So that's why I partnered to have it printed. And that led
Hmm.
me to where I am today.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better and doing better. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm doing great.
Great. That's wonderful. And the doctor, that was a great prescription. Do something that makes you happy. That's so much better than a drug or a
Yeah.
prescription. But that is
Yes.
great. Yeah.
No
And
doubt about it. And I did really get into it. I mean, my characters, I couldn't wait to finish my day of writing to see what they were doing and what they were saying. They almost took on a life of their own.
oh
It
yeah.
was amazing, amazing process.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place to live where you're writing a book or a screenplay and you're picturing the street, you're picturing the clothes, you're picturing the people, the conversations, and obviously you're borrowing here and there from people you knew and that kind of things.
Right, right.
And it's
You
a
do.
it's a great blend of a trip down memory lane and creation, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah. And I've heard great things about Gotham, and I'm glad it was a good experience for you as well. Obviously,
Oh,
since
it
your
was
book is
wonderful.
great.
It
Yeah,
was wonderful.
excellent. Have you envisioned this as a TV series or a movie, perhaps?
Well, yeah, that would be the ultimate for me.
Hmm.
I can't imagine the feeling I'd have over something like that, because all these characters are so alive to me.
Right.
And to have somebody see my vision and put it up there for other people to see would be just glorious for me. I would love it, because I've been a movie nut since I was a little kid. That's how I used to spend my Saturdays. I would go downtown and watch the double features while everybody else was out playing in the park, because I just adored movies. I always have all my life. Well, that would be something, really something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. There's one thing to be in a movie, and that's thrilling. But to actually create the story that people
Yeah.
bring to life, and the way they would bring it to life, you would think it was 1941 again in that small town, and Cricket is going about her business, and the murder happens. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
movie
Yeah.
making is. It's creating a world, right?
Right. It definitely
Absolutely.
is.
Yep.
And that would be the ultimate joy in my life.
That'd
The
be
ultimate.
wonderful. Well, Hollywood, if you're listening, this would be a great book. It's a beautiful, era that that our author writes about, and I think a lot of people would really, really enjoy hearing this story, and I think they'd learn from it as well. Is there a bit of a message, Patty, in the story for the folks at home that you wanted to relay to them?
Well, there's a little side thing to doing this book that I never even thought about. And I started getting contact from women who were just about in the empty nest syndrome. They weren't
Mhm.
quite there yet. And what they kept saying is, thank you, thank you, thank you. We thought our creative years were gone, that we'd spent them all in the kids. It's such a joy to know that at this stage in life, and mine is quite up there, it's never too late.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Look at Clint Eastwood making movies at 93. Obviously, he started younger, but
True.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
that's
that
true.
you had a little bit of a career change. It was under unfortunate circumstances, but you took those lemons and made lemonade. And that is the secret of life. And like I said, the doctor who gave you that prescription to do something that makes you happy was a great one, because you're not only going to make yourself happy with this book, you're going to make other people happy as well, because they'll truly enjoy reading it. The name of the book is The Shingle Weaver's Picnic. It is set in the backdrop of World War II, and it is a wonderful story about a small town in America where a shocking murder takes place. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Patty.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pure pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.